I showed earlier an example of sending a module context from the RtTreeView to the Excel Web Access. So let's take a look at how that definition was achieved. As you can see, here's an RtTreeView. The RtTreeView is set up such that it's looking at a particular part of the module database, and that these different units within the module database, these units map to a different set of aliases. So, for example, Unit A has an alias that maps to sinusoid. Unit B maps to a different tag. Now, if we look at the original spreadsheet here, as we saw on the web, if I change this from Unit A to Unit B, the alias name resolves into a different alias name using this function PyAliasToTag. So there's a couple of things we had to do. First of all, we had to define this as a named range. This cell B3 is defined as module path. That's going to be the destination of where I send this connected link. And if you notice, what we're retrieving is it's simply the name of the module and any submodule within that. There is no server there. And that's actually important because when you're making use of RtTreeView, again, like the previous WebPart, you can choose what it is that you send as a filter. You can choose the full path, or you can just choose a relative path. The relative path is what we want here, because we want something that doesn't have the server name embedded within it. So the way we do that, well, let's look at two things. First of all, let's look at the connection. So if I go into edit mode, and that's probably the biggest mistake people make when they're doing this, setting up connections. They forget to get into edit mode. So if I go into edit connections, we're sending filtered data to the EWA WebPart, and we're specifying that that's the destination. That is the named range module path that we saw in the when we first looked at the Excel spreadsheet, the original. So that tells us the destination. Let's now go into the definition of this TreeView WebPart. This is where we actually specify what it is we're sending. So if I scroll down, just like we saw before under filter values, this is where you can choose what it is you're going to send. Now the module path would be the full path, including the server name. We don't want that. We want the relative module path. That will deliver what we need to that connected WebPart. Now let me take the opportunity to remind those of you who may not be familiar with module database where the module database is configured. This is the PySMT, the System Management Tools. If you go within Operation Module Database, you can see this asset database. It tries to basically represent the process. So under that asset database, we see Data Link Demo Solution module that has unit A, B, and C. And within that unit, you can see these aliases that we're talking about. So these aliases that are shared in common, they map to different Pi tags. That maps to sinusoid. This maps to CDT158. And that's the mechanism at work, so that as I switch from one unit to the other, we resolve different tag names.